All right, let's see what we can do to turn this list of names into a navigation menu going horizontally across the screen. It's going to require adding a little HTML to turn these into links rather than just words in a list, and changing the CSS to create the navigation menu spaced across horizontally. Okay, let's take a look at the text here. This is my current CSS. Let's look at the HTML. Here you see the navigation element with the unordered list in it. I copied the changes I want to make to the list here. Basically, inside each list item, I want to specify a link. So I'm just going to paste that in there. And if we line it up, we can see that we still have the list items, the same name, but here we have an href to a page. Now the only page we have right now is the index page, and that is the correct link for home, but we're going to be creating a recipe page, and what we're actually working on is the recipe page, so it's going to be saved eventually as something like recipes.html, and there will be an about.html, and there will be a contact.html, but I don't want to create those pages until I've finished the basic design, so I'm not creating pages that will have to be updated. So I want to create my design first and then make these other pages. Oh, how's that look so far? I'm going to save that, reload, and that's an awful lot of change for just making things links. But remember, we had some CSS for a link here. What we have to do in our CSS is specify that this CSS styling for a link we only want to apply inside of the recipe. These links that are not inside the recipe will have their own styling. So how do we accomplish that? One thing we can do while we're still out here is we can go into Firebug and we can inspect this guy and see where it is, see where it's getting its styling from. There's a rule for links. We're going to be more specific about that. If we look at this, we see that this link is inside of an article with class recipe. That's pretty different than inside a nav. All right, that's not inside the article. Okay, so that's enough. Although if I right-click here, I can also have Firebug create a CSS path. Let's take a look at that. So I copied that, go into the CSS, find our link here. Now if I highlight that and paste, this is a complete path specifying this link. It's a link that's inside an article of class recipe, that's inside a div ID content, that's inside a div ID container, that's inside a div ID wrapper, inside the body, inside the HTML. A complete list from the HTML all the way through all the nesting of boxes. Well, we don't really need all of those. The fact that it's a link inside of our recipe is good enough. If we do that and save it and reload, okay, now you see that these are just links with the default link styling, and we can proceed to style those the way we want.